So thank you everyone for joining us. We very much appreciate public constructive feedback because the Arts Commission intends to serve the public. And actually during this process, we've heard a lot of constructive ideas that we look forward to discussing further. I do want to remind everyone that this particular meeting is not a regular Sandy Arts Commission meeting where we can hear comments and ideas regarding art in Sandy in general, but it's rather a meeting for the purpose of hearing public comment regarding the silhouette mural by Becky Hawley. So Becky will be speaking as the artist tonight and not as a commissioner. In fact, she has recused herself from all decisions regarding this mural. Briefly, the process went like this. The silhouette mural was proposed by Becky to the Arts Commission, and it received unanimous support amongst us. And then it went to City Council where it was unanimously approved. And then the Urban Renewal Board approved $11,000, which was the remaining budget amount after private donations, pledges, and in-kind donations of $16,700. We did try very hard to get public feedback early on. There were actually 10 public meetings where the mural was represented, and it was well received at those meetings, but not all the meetings were well attended. We had a very difficult time finding a way to contact people. It was also posted on some Facebook pages and city page, but I realize not everybody looks at those. There were a number of pledges, as I mentioned, and it did seem like there was good, positive community support. However, shortly after the Urban Renewal Board agreed to $11,000 for the mural, we started getting a lot of negative comments, particularly on social media. And there were also some letters written to City Council. And so the Urban Renewal Board asked us to take a pause and to have these two meetings to get public feedback and consider making changes to the mural. So at this meeting, we will offer further background on this art project and how it was initiated and the process it went through. Becky will describe that and present her vision, and then we will devote the remainder of time to public comment. So Becky, if you would describe how this came about and your vision for the work.
Okay, the before photo, if you want to go ahead and pull that up. Last summer, the building owner, who's a friend, asked me to look at the back of the wall for a mural. And I took a look, and the ugly electrical panels really needed to be addressed. You'll see those on the left. You can just see the edge of the existing mural over there. In 2009, I proposed a community project for the entire back of this building. And the city didn't really like the idea of having that type of community project done, and proposed a different, smaller project, which is the existing mural over on the other side there. They did panels that are there now, and the Urban Renewal Board, I believe, funded most of that, and that was $30,000. Another challenge with the back of this wall is that it's very long. It's about 120 feet long, and it's divided up by pillars and changes in height of the roof line. And then on the far right-hand side, that side is visible from Proctor, but it has a loading dock, which is a pit, and the area is poorly lit, and it has sort of an unsafe feeling at night. So the challenges were to somehow improve the appearance of the wall, improve the safety in that area, and really how to come up with a design that would be set apart from the mural and be a design that didn't compete with the mural. So keeping the colors and of the existing mural and bringing those colors into the design was a design decision that I made. So that's how it came about. It was a proposal by the building owner to me. And then, as Pam said, that was taken to the meeting. I'm speaking to you tonight completely as the artist and not as a commissioner. I'm donating my design and labor to do the project to the city. That would be my donation. Pam did not mention one thing that we did. Did you mention the Sandy Post article that ran on the 13th of May? That particular Sandy Post article was a half-page article, and there was the city art email in there, and that article in the paper only generated one negative feedback email, but we had really good support from the community wanting to donate, and so the project we felt had really good support, and I really appreciated that. As far as the public input goes, there were some design changes made to the original design after we'd been through a number of these public meetings and got feedback. I added some things to the mural that I'll talk about now. I'm going to describe in photo number 2. I would like to describe a little bit of what the photo that you're seeing, what it is actually. These are larger than life silhouettes, and they're made out of steel. It's not something that's painted onto the wall. They will actually be 3-dimensional, and they'll be mounted onto the wall. So the ground level, like if you look at the children, they appear to be standing on the ground. That will be painted on, and then there'll be a lighter color above. And the building owner is painting the back of the building, and so I've been waiting for him and his color selection, because he's painting the whole building, in order to make a final color selection for this wall. It will not be gray on gray as you see here, but there needed to be a starting point indicating this is just an artist's rendering showing what the project would more or less look like. Selective color will be used throughout the mural, and it will be taken mainly from the adjacent mural and from the historical colors that is for the Sandy style. Because of the length of the wall, if you were standing over closer to the existing mural, you may not see any of the wall that's on the right-hand side. Or if you're standing on the right-hand side, there may be things that are not visible on the left-hand side. But through the magic of Photoshop, you're looking at the whole thing all put together for the computer. And what I tried to do here is make vignettes. So the first low wall on the right is the first vignette. And then you have the hikers up the mountain of knowledge. And then the tree divides that vignette from the children, and so on down the wall, giving points of interest to each part of the wall. So let's look at the right side. There's a man and his companion looking up, bringing our attention to the theme sign, Grow Together. This plants a seed and sets the tone for the whole mural. To support local business, the man's red bag, it will say Shop Sandy. Economic development is one of the things that the Arts Commission was tasked with to keep economic development in mind. And for me, Shop Sandy is a way that artwork can help the city businesses. From the theme above, then the colorful flowers will come down the wall. It isn't going to look exactly the way it looks in this Photoshop document, but a number of people have donated money, and those colorful flowers will be in the Cultivate Kindness community garden. There'll be a plaque hanging by the doorway there, and it will list the donors and the supporters of the project. And the door will be painted to look like a seed packet. The gardener represents a person doing important work of tending to our garden, promoting health and growth, and they're working for and caring for us. And for me, they represent all the good and helpful people in our lives. So you may see a family member or a friend or a teacher or a religious figure, anyone who's made you feel cared for. Beyond the tall sunflowers, a blank wall titled The Mountain of Knowledge will contain inspirational sayings, quotes, and words of wisdom for living well, emphasizing goals of lifelong learning and the importance of work and living a balanced life. The community is asked to send these seeds of wisdom, quotes, and so forth, and then the selected text will be painted on the wall using various size fonts and colors. For example, I'll give you one of the quotes that I have chosen. Success is measured not so much by the position one has reached as by the obstacles one overcomes while trying to succeed. Booker T. Washington. Or another one is, the day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. And if good people do nothing, nothing good will come of it. So there are quite a variety of messages that have been sent in already. Next, young climbers are setting out together on their journey through life, working their way up the mountain of knowledge, and they'll be followed by a curious cat who's not shown here. Sandy is the gateway to the mountain, and we have a lot of trails and outdoor opportunities to offer. This section has a connection to our area, but it also symbolizes our individual journey through life. For many of us, it's an uphill climb. Next to the wise old tree is a small sign that will read, trees symbolize wisdom, strength, beauty, and protection. Sandy, Oregon, Tree City, USA. The tree creates separation for the next vignette. Again, that plaque is not visible, but it'll be at the bottom of the tree. Two children are playing with their pup. They're all growing up together and learning as they go. Sandy is a great place to raise children. And then the girl brings our attention to the painter who's working to make our lives better, a more beautiful and interesting place. The painter is doing work that needs to be done. And then the last section represents our library. The library is a gem in the heart of our town. And the electrical panels will be painted very simply but colorfully with book titles and authors that will be presented by the library. And in the last section, where above the electrical panels, a girl is reading a book, and written below her is the words, "Read books, plant seeds." And that brings the theme of the mural full circle. So if you approach this mural from the left or the right, you're given clues to the artist's intention and to what may be seen in the mural. And then, so you have little things kind of all along that you may be able to see from across the street, but then other things will draw you in so that you have to engage with the artwork and walk up close to it to see things like some of the words of knowledge will be written much smaller. And so what I'd like to do is reserve a little bit of time after hearing some of the public comments. And then I would like to talk about a plaque which will be located between the girl reading and the painter. And if we could just do that a little later in the comments, I'd like to hear a few comments.
Is it safe to unshare this at the moment?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so we have a number of, go ahead, Pam, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say Tyler is going to give us the guidelines for the comments.
And I was just going to say, I'm going to give you the guidelines for the comments. So
How about some guidelines for the comments?
Thank you.
Public comment is obviously welcome on this mural. The two specific questions that the Urban Renewal Board is hoping to have answered is, one, what do you like and dislike about the proposed Growing Together mural? And two, what would you like to see incorporated or removed from the proposed Growing Together mural? I'd like to remind everyone that we will need name and address for the record. We're allowing each attendee to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes, as we do with all public comment at our council meetings and other public meetings. If you exceed your 3 minutes or have already spoken and wish to add additional comments, feel free to email either city recorder at ci.sandy.or.us or the city art at cityofsandy.com email address. And with that, I see one person with their hand raised, so I will go ahead and unmute you, Karen Tilton. Or rather, I'm allowing you to speak. You may have to unmute yourself.
Okay, thanks, Tyler. I would like to, my name is Karen Tilton, and what did you need, my address?
Yep.
P.O. Box 394, Welches, Oregon 97067.
Thank you.
And would you please give me a 2-minute? I'm assuming my address doesn't count.
No, you're good to go right now.
All right, I would like to address the first question on your agenda tonight. What do you like or dislike about the proposed Growing Together mural? First of all, I dislike the process that has brought the City of Sandy and the Urban Renewal Agency and the Arts Commission to this point. I have lived here for 45 years. I've been retired for 9 years from a career as a consultant to the National League of Cities, the Oregon League of Cities, many other state associations, and to hundreds of cities across the US and Canada over a 35-year period. For the record, I would like to state my observation as it pertains to the question previously stated. The Sandy Urban Renewal Agency was established by the City of Sandy in 1998. The agency is comprised of the City Sandy Council, a representative, I believe still, of the Sandy Fire District, and the Sandy Chamber of Commerce. When developing the Sandy Urban Renewal Plan, Goals, objectives were developed to guide activities funded by or related to the plan area. Using these very guidelines that have been in place for over 20 years, on July 6th, the Urban Renewal Agency approved $11,000 in funding for the Growing Together mural, a project that had been previously endorsed by the council on June 1st. Prior to this approval, there were numerous opportunities using various formats for the community to view the design, hear from the artist, ask questions, and give input. This included 8 public hearings and 1 semi-private meeting of a nonprofit. All public meetings were well publicized, using but not limited to the Sandy Post, the City of Sandy website, the Sandy Community Information page, and on Facebook. These publicly advertised meetings included 2 public art forums, a City Council forum, 2 Y East Artisan Guild meetings, 2 SAC meetings, 1 City Council meeting, 1 Urban Renewal Board meeting, and a meeting of the Sandy Garden Club. Additionally, the Sandy Post ran an article with a photo of the mural on May 13th. These meetings generated positive support and many donations. Now, fast forward to July and the input of Ms. Nina Alder. I'm not going to focus on the other input I reviewed, since the use of common comments led the reader, me, to believe that this was a grassroots effort that supplied misinformation to many, as there were many similar comments.
1 minute.
With one point that she had, that vision, goals, accomplishments, measures, selection criteria, and process protocol need to be developed in the very newly formed Sandy Art Commission. This will come in time and would have come sooner had the city provided adequate guidance in the formation of the Arts Commission in the first place. But let me share some words that Ms. Alder, and I'm going to quote her. The artist is, this is quote, the artist is white, presumably straight, of middle age. The proposed artwork really carries that point of view. I'm also a middle-aged white woman, and sorry, not sorry, we just don't have much to say. That's terribly interesting. We just don't, end quote. Another quote, Sandy has a significant migrant community that is not at all represented in its public spaces. I'd personally love to see responses to a CFP from local artists of non-European descent, end quote. Another quote, with coronavirus making formal art class virtually impossible, she wants to see, I'm going to paraphrase all this, she wants to see kids in grades 7 to 12 have an opportunity to learn about mural art, and she goes on, and then she also adds at the end that, of course, she would be happy to volunteer to do this.
And Ms. Tilton, that's your 3 minutes.
Okay, I would like to request to speak again to finish my dissertation when everybody else has had an opportunity to talk. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else in the attendee list that would like to speak, please raise your hand now. We have Kathleen Walker. Hold on, Ms. Walker. I will click the button to allow you to speak. You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Hi, can you hear me?
You can.
Yep.
Hi. I believe that the email messages and things that Miss Alder, that Miss Tilton up in Welch's was talking about between Nina and Becky were email messages. They weren't public messages. So it's probable that Becky had written up that response to Nina's input and had Karen deliver that personally, because it would be awkward for Becky to respond with those comments by herself. I understand that. So not sure that's, that's the way you take public input and respond to it. It's a bit awkward. I will go on the record again asking that what I like about the mural is that we have a wonderful public space to fill and to have a meaningful display and connection with the folks that are in the town square. The thing that I don't like about the mural is pretty much most of it, just because it didn't ever, all these public meetings that had little to no attendance. You've got 600 comments that are on the record expressing input on what the feelings are about this mural and about the process. And I really encourage you to take a look at those 600 comments, because they speak volumes. They are commenting that what they don't like about this mural is just about everything, and they want the whole process started over, and that they would like to have other artists considered. Let's see, what I would like to tweak about this again is the fact that The process is flawed. It's awkward for, it's not only awkward, it's conflict of interest for the arts commissioner to be the one to come up with the project, design the project, oversee the project, take public input on the project, respond to the public input on the project. That is really the job, you know, of an arts commission who is not at all connected to the art itself. You know, it's impossible for somebody, and I understand the ownership she must feel and the difficulty that she has listening to some of this critical input. It's impossible. I can't imagine how painful that can be for you, Becky. And I feel for you, and I know that you want the best. And I
30 seconds.
also understand that it's difficult for you to see any kind of conflict of interest that others see. Please read all the comments. Please listen to what people are saying. And I would encourage the Urban Renewal District Council to start the process over, open it up, and let's see what we can do. We could do, you know, a project probably cheaper with the wonderful murals that the arts program at the high school has. They've done some fantastic murals, and there's just a lot of other possibilities to go for. I really want you to kind of start it. And I also appreciate all the hard work that you all do. And I appreciate nobody rolling their eyes this time. It's really refreshing to, you know, to try to kind of give public input and feel like you've been heard. So read all the comments, and I appreciate all your time and effort. Thanks for listening to me.
Before she signs off, I have a question for her.
Can you state your address for the record? I know it, but if you could.
15920 Southeast Bluff Road.
Thank you.
I have just one quick question for her before she signs off.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, of the 75 pages that were sent out to us, how many separate posters were there in all those pages?
I don't know, you'd have to count them.
I made a rough estimate of 15 to 20. You know, even if there's 30, I don't understand how that warrants saying it's overwhelmingly negative. Are you talking just as far as Facebook is concerned, or are you talking about the people who live in the city of Sandy?
Well, you know, most of this commission doesn't live in the city of Sandy. So, you know, to say that, you know, all of you can be outside the city of Sandy and not take any public input from any actual voting residents is kind of ironic there. So I don't think people, you know, since you all don't limit yourselves to the city residents, then the commenters don't necessarily either. If you want, I can kind of do a quick analysis and figure out how many posters there were, how many were in pro, how many were con. There were some comments that were repeated. I didn't go through and do all that analysis, but I'm happy to do that if that would be helpful for you. Just reading through everything, and I didn't even post all of them. I just, you know, posted 600, the first 600 or more. Yeah, we're overwhelmingly in favor of considering other artists, and somewhat, you know, unfortunately, not too supportive of this design. Some of them didn't support having a mural at all, given the times that we're in, economic hard times. There were some of those, but I can definitely, you know, consolidate all those comments that are in the record to date and give you a snapshot of that, if that would be helpful.
So Kathleen, I don't want to cut you off or interrupt you, but I will say, since those were submitted as part of the record, Jeff Aprati and myself do have intentions of weeding through those comments and determining how many unique comments we received, or commenters we had, and then just sort of tallying up positive and negative feedback. So, you know, if you would like to participate in that, feel free to do so, but staff plans on working on that over the next week or so.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Just so I know, and also for the record, Ms. Walker, I am a Sandy resident.
I realize that. I know. Thank you.
Me and Lou.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else in the attendee list that would like to speak this evening? Not seeing any other hands at the moment.
Karen wants to finish her thing, I think.
I will leave that to the commission to determine if they'd like to extend Ms. Tilton's 3 minutes of public comment, or if they would like to leave it where it's at. Any comments or feelings about that?
Well, if there's nobody else who wants to talk, why not let her talk?
One thing that I might say, I'm not a art commission, but I'm on city council, is that if she has quite a bit of input, she can certainly submit something to the city recorder and make sure all of her comments are included that way.
Makes sense.
That sounds right.
I think so. I think that's appropriate. Last time we had some controversy about people speaking multiple times, and so we made a decision for tonight's meeting to adhere to 3 minutes, and I think we don't want to set a precedent that does not allow for that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. I will, just for everyone listening, list off the city recorder email address again. I'll give you a second to grab a pen if anyone in the audience needs to grab one. The email address is recorder@ci.sandy.or.us.
I might add too that a written document is really well received from the input so that we can see that, although we've got it in oral testimony as well. But if a written document is really very influential, it's easy to look at the points, and if you can organize them, that really would help a lot.
Becky has her hand up.
Miss Holly.
If I could, then I would like to go ahead and close with, this is a draft document for a plaque that would hang between the girl reading and the painter. And it will have the artist vision on it, as well as an artist statement and list of the donors to the mural, the ones that don't appear on the Cultivate Kindness community garden plaque. So it would say, growing together. Sandy is many things. Our public library is a jewel in the heart of Sandy. You can raise children here. Hiking trails and backpacking are on our doorstep. We're the gateway to Mount Hood. Farms and nurseries grow here. And then a little bit about the mural itself. It says, read books, plant seeds. A girl sits reading a book. She's immersed in another world as she learns about new ideas, different cultures, and interesting people. Reading paints pictures. It tickles our imagination and expands our mind. Painters make our world a beautiful and more interesting place. Their work is never done. They renew the old and create new perspectives on old views. A paintbrush is but one tool in the creative toolbox. Inquisitive children and their alert companion are playing and growing together under the protection of the wise old tree. Young climbers, followed by a curious cat, ascend the mountain. While working their way along, they gain knowledge and self-confidence. The Cultivate Kindness Community Garden represents the people who support this artwork, a gift to the community. While the man and his companion bring attention to our community, the gardener cares for us. They represent all of the people in our lives who keep us safe, healthy, and flourishing. And finally, grow together as individuals, grow together as a community, and make a better future. The artist's statement. This post-50s mural is intentionally race and ethnicity neutral. 4 figures are genderless, allowing the viewer to see themselves, their family and friends at different stages of life. Viewers will interpret what they see in their own way, and each will write the story as they see it. So that ends the project description, and I'd just like to make one public comment. And for me, the message is grow together. And in these divided times, it seems more important than ever to hear and understand and relate to that message. I'm saddened by the division in our society. This mural was created to be a community building project with a positive message. I hope the description of the mural will give a fuller picture of the finished artwork and its potential for our community. One last thought. If artwork is only done when it pleases all the people, art will never be done again. It's okay if this artwork isn't your cup of tea. If everybody had the same liked all the same things, we'd eat all the same food, and we'd watch all the same movies. Everybody has an opinion, and it's our right as Americans to express those opinions. This forum is for you to express your opinion, and I'll be especially interested to hear if anyone has a constructive criticism or suggestion to make this an even better project. And I want to thank everybody for their time.
Is there anyone else who has not spoken that would like to speak?
Should be a raise hand button on the lower right hand side of your screen if you are listening and would like to raise your hand to speak this evening.
I would like to just say something. At the end of our last thing is when the plaque was brought up, and I didn't have a chance to comment then. I think the plaque designating the donors, because that the stuff that Becky read, that's a huge plaque. That's probably a 4 foot by 4 foot plaque to have all that verbiage on there. I think listing the donors who gave other than just donating for the flowers is great. I think the artist's message is great, but if you need that much description of each little vignette of the artwork, I think there's something wrong with the artwork. I mean, it should stand on its own, and the artist's message basically leaves that up to each individual's interpretation. Whereas if you tell them what each thing means and then say, but it's up to your own interpretation, it kind of is redundant in that way. I would prefer to see
your opinion.
That's my opinion, that
Thank
you have a thing where you're explaining the whole thing and then you say, but it's up to you to see what you want to see in the, you know, it's, you put in your thing about how it's gender neutral and race neutral and all that, and that's great. But to say what each thing is in a 4 by 4 foot plaque that's not visible unless you get out and walk over there and look at it, I just think the art should stand on its own. And I think, you know, the art does stand on its own. It doesn't need you know, 150 word explanation.
It's a part of the art. Just like the wall is something that they'll read as well.
I do see one hand up from an attendee. It is Layla. I will allow you to speak now. You might need to unmute yourself. I can get my keyboard to work. Hold on just a second. Oh, looks like Layla disappeared, but Carrie Glenn, you are able to speak now if you'd like. You need to unmute yourself.
Can you explain to them where they unmute themselves?
Depending on what type of device you're on, it's likely in the bottom left corner of your screen. Or if you hover over yourself, there's 3 little dots, and you should be able to unmute yourself in that area as well.
Oh, so if they hover over their name, they get little dots up in the top of the box to unmute. I see that.
Oh, I see your microphone went off, Ms. Glenn. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can.
This is
Your name and
Cherry
address,
Glenn. I live at 36753 Katrina Street in Sandy. I feel very naive to this entire process. It's totally a new experience for me. I have enjoyed the comments that have been made, and as I become more aware of what's happening around this mural, I feel like I would like to put my thoughts in writing when I've had some time to think through and be clear about my opinion of this entire process and what has happened to the efforts to beautify Sandy. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
I think we would welcome not just what she feels about this particular mural, but if she has any ideas for any other projects to put it in her message, I think would be welcomed by all of us.
Right.
I agree.
If we are ready to conclude, if
And
there's,
I have a question. No, wait, me.
Sandy?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can somebody? No, you can. I just wanted to say one thing. All the people that I've talked to and people that have donated money, they were so happy to hear we weren't going to have another wagon train. We all know our history. We all know where we came from. But where are we going? And you notice that the city new logo is where elevation meet, or what is it?
Yeah. Innovation.
We're
innovation.
Somebody help me with that.
We're innovation,
We're
elevation.
shoot, no, I can't remember.
Elevation.
Anyway, it has to do with advancement. Innovation meets elevation. I can think of those words. Anyway, so it has nothing to do with the past and the wagon trains and the people. Yes, yes. And anyway, they were so glad to know. Yeah, so have a mural that is showing where we're going and where we are. We'd like, they just said, oh, we don't need another wagon train.
We only have one wagon.
Those are comments that I, thank you.
I had a question too, Becky. Who will decide, will that be part of the Arts Commission decision as far as the words of wisdom that are chosen, or are you going to take all the submissions and decide which ones go up there?
In the proposal, I said that I would have full artistic control of the mural.
Okay.
Sandra, can you hear me?
She's on a time lag, I think.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to clarify what she was saying, because we had talked about that before.
Can you hear me?
Who's speaking?
She's on a time lag or something.
Okay.
Well, what I was going to say is she's referring
should
to
be Becky now.
Okay.
I'm using my laptop.
What she's referring to is when the fundraising started, Sandra went out and spoke to people about donating to the mural, and she had excellent response, and people were happy to see something different in town, and they have given a tremendous amount of support in the form of donations. I recognize Cherry Glenn's name on the donors list for a flower, and so she will be represented there. And so I think that what Sandra is trying to say is that the community support in the form of donation should be considered a vote and have a voice as well. Okay.
We do have another member of the public ready to speak. Layla, let me allow you to talk. Hopefully it'll work this time.
And tell her about hovering over
Go ahead
her.
and unmute yourself.
There she goes.
I'm unmuted now.
Yes.
Thank you. I keep losing connection, so that's on my part. Anyway, I would like to thank Becky, first of all, for taking the time to get this put together and to volunteer all the time that she has done. When we first saw the plan, which it's been around for quite a while, we weren't excited about the black and the gray. But then as we read your information about it and explained what the mural meant, it meant a lot more to us as to how it's going to be presented to the whole city of Sandy and people that are coming through it. So I just, both my husband and I have a hands up for the mural, and we think it's a great idea. My one thing was, I read from the left to the right, not from the right to the left, and your explanation starts from the right, and I think that is part of, because that's what we learn in the United States, to read from the left to the right instead of the right to the left. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But looking at the building, because I went and looked at the building after your first meeting a month ago or last month, and I can see where the complications are with electrical boxes and with the where Goodwill used to have their trucks come in, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a beautiful idea, and I'm just hoping that the color spectrum will be changed just a little bit, other than having the black and the gray. So other than that, I think it's a great idea. And also talking, when you talked to Roger Cook's son the last time, and you explained to him how you didn't want to have competition, I think that's a great idea as well. I think it totally fits in.
Lila, that was Lee Lawrenson is the artist for the other mural adjacent to that. So it was his son that attended one meeting.
Okay.
And yes, we talked about that. And the plaque will be on the left side. And so when I went over the contents of the plaque, I did go ahead and start on the left side and go to the right side with that. And so I know exactly what you mean. It made a lot more sense to go left to right. And so that's what I've done on the plaque.
Okay.
Thank you for your comment.
You're welcome.
Let's get a name.
Get your name and address for the record, please.
Layla Blakely, P.O. Box 412, Sandy, Oregon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Right. Is there any other public comment this evening?
Okay.
We should shut it down then.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
I just see
there's
another hand.
another one.
Ms. Polk, hold on just a moment. You'll be able to unmute yourself now. Just need name and address for the record, please.
Lindsay Polk, P.O. Box 1541, Sandy.
All right, I'll start your 3 minutes now.
All right, so I do have a couple of questions. One, and I think I interacted via Facebook with you, Becky, on this, is you made a comment, or Sandra made the comment about nobody wants to see any more wagon trains, and talking about that level of our history. But what is the Art Commission planning on doing then, if not in a mural form, to recognize the history that precedes the pioneers in this area? Because that's been largely ignored in this community. And then my other question is, Becky, as the artist, how much are you getting to profit from this mural?
Okay, so can I have you repeat the part about the, you ask about representing something, but I couldn't hear what?
Yeah, so representing the history that predates the pioneers coming to Sandy, because that's been ignored in Sandy history and just largely eradicated. And it's like Sandy starts with the pioneers, but there was a large population.
The tribes in the area.
Yeah. So, you know, like logic would tell me that that would make sense on a mural to represent the rest of it, at least in that location, given what's already there. But so what is the Art Commission's intention when it comes to representing other parts of our history?
Well, I can't speak for the Arts Commission, but I would say that that would be something that would be addressed in an Arts Commission meeting, or in maybe an email to the Arts Commission, because that's the kind of thing that we would discuss together. So at this time, the Arts Commission doesn't have any proposals before it, I can say that. None that I'm aware of for art in Sandy. Now, as far as how much I'm getting for the mural, I'm donating the design and all of the time for oversight. I'm not making a single dime. It's 100% donated to the city. I do not know personally any of the people who are providing any of the things that would be paid for, which would be the silhouettes, the metal fab and the powder coating company. I know none of those people other than obtaining bids. And I have no relatives or friends that are making any money. There is 2 gentlemen who know the building owner who have offered to help with installation, and a 3rd person. None of them are being paid. They're volunteers. And so as far as I know, nobody's going to be making any money. Ace Hardware will get a few bucks because I have to buy a little bit of paint, but I don't have any personal friends there. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. I was just wondering, 'cause I knew you were the artist, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, it wasn't a plan to profit on top of, right? That's just transparency.
I'm donating my time as a arts commissioner. I'm donating my time as the artist on this project. And we donated our time to do the Cook mural, and I donated my time to do the Thomas mural on the City Hall. And I have not profited off of any of those things. And I don't ask for reimbursement for mileage. And and nobody's bought me a sandwich or a cup of coffee, as far as I know. Pam?
I would like to comment to Lindsay. It's not the Art Commission's job to come up with projects to do in Sandy. So you wondered what the Art Commission is going to do about the tribes, and this concerns me, and it has concerned many people, and I'm glad for the feedback about that. But we respond to people who come to us with ideas and projects. We don't try to come up with ways to beautify Sandy or come up with projects on our own. I wonder if that helps. We would love to have someone approach us with an idea like you described.
Good to know. I am not an artist, so that's definitely not my skill set.
Okay, any other comments?
Going, gone.
Yes.
Okay. We also have our regularly scheduled art commission on August 19th, which is a public meeting. That's at 8 o'clock. And we do take public comment at the meeting. The city council meetings are also public meetings. You've been given 2 email addresses that you can write to city council or to cityart@cityofsandy.com. We want your feedback regarding what you want to see for art in Sandy. It's really unfortunate that it's taken some strife and some disagreement here to bring people out of the woodwork, but the positive side is that we have really heard a lot of interesting comments and proposals, and I intend to compile those things that I've heard. Other people will be working on that as well, and we will have some good things to discuss for the future. You can also help us by letting us know how you think the interested public can be kept informed. We really tried to inform people this time around, and it didn't work out as well as we would have liked. A lot of people, very understandably, just didn't hear about it in time. And so if you have good ideas on how we can get the word out, please let us know. And I thank you very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it a lot.
I'll do one last call for public comment before we finish up, just because I see a few names that haven't yet spoken. Not seeing any hands. Again, if you'd rather deliver your public comment via email, the emails have been listed previously in this meeting. You can also contact City Hall to obtain any contact information you may need. But seeing no more raised hands, I think we're probably safe to conclude this meeting for this evening, unless there's any objection or further comment from the commission.
Thank you for your time.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone, for your feedback this evening.
Thank you.